So I saw this kind of silly advice column thing. I just have to share with you. I was going to write about it in my weekly newsletter, and I'm like, no, let me just do a video because it's too funny. I got to read it. Okay, so Life Kit is something on NPR, National Public Radio. Their website is where I land when I go on the internet. And this was for some reason I noticed it. So here's the question to Life Kit. Dear Life Kit, my husband wrote a novel he's publishing this year. It's 80 I'm sorry. It's 80 chapters long. I've tried to read it a bunch of times, but I can't stand his writing style. I know I need to try to find something good to say, and I need advice fast because he's already working on a sequel. I'm sorry. I'm a writer. I'm also an editor. This is hilarious. So she gives her an answer. I mean, the woman asked a question, but then I'm going to approach it from a totally different way. The answer is, I actually have a friend who just wrote a book, but her husband has not read it, even though it's been out for months. At first, I thought it was weird. This is the answer. Then I thought, you know what? If it works for the relationship and she's not upset about it, why should other people be? Relationships are so different and complex, and how we support and how we show support to each other needs to be defined by both individuals. I thought it was weird. I'm sorry. For some couples, that might be, I'm reading all of your books. I'm supporting you in every single way. And for other couples, that might not be the expectation. Before your husband goes on the journey of writing the sequel, have a conversation with him about how much you should be involved in his book process. If you don't talk about this from the jump, that's when things can be misconstrued. Sometimes hurt is really just an unmet expectation, which is true. As for the current book, it's always an accomplishment to write a book of any sort. Try to read what you can. Be honest and say, I would love to be with you on this journey. Does anybody talk to their spouse this way? I would love to be with you on this journey. Unfortunately, your writing style is very different from what I prefer. I'm wondering if there's another way I can support you. Does anybody talk to their spouse this way? Really, raise your hand if you do. I would love to be with you on this journey. Okay, then try to find a different mode to receive the book. Maybe listening to an audiobook version of it might be more digestible. It's a draft. It's an audiobook? 80 chapters? Who's recording it? Okay, you can also try compromising with your partner. Say, I might not be able to get through 80 chapters, but I'll try to get through the first 10 and see if there's progress to be made there. That's the answer. When I got off the floor from laughing, I mean, seriously, she had to give an answer, I guess. She could have skipped that question and not answered it. But I'd like to be with you on this journey. I'll try to read the first 10. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. So here's my answer, which isn't an answer to that person. My dog is standing here because I'm laughing so hard. He's down here. It's fine, baby. So I'm going to switch it around and talk to you guys, the writers, and say, why would you assume somebody wants to read your book? Okay, or your draft. It's a draft, right? I mean, if it hasn't been through editing, and if it's not published and something they can hold, it's a draft. So I recently finished a memoir about my relationship with a horse. And two of my friends, usually beta readers, you want a friend maybe, but two of my friends asked if they could read it, and I get really good feedback. Excuse me, and I'm still looking for other people, actually a third person who's not a friend, she's a colleague, and a pretty well-published novelist and teacher. And I'm like, oh, she wants to read it. I'm like, offered to pay her, and she's like, no. I'm like, awesome, this is great. She wants to read it. So, and she's not a horse person. So, but a few other people I asked, are you interested in reading? This is about, they knew the horse, but you know what? I don't have time right now. To me, that's no, I don't want to read it. Okay, fine. I'm not offended. It's not a priority to make time to read the draft. That's fine. That's fine. So you writers, don't assume your spouse wants to read your work. If you're an attorney, and maybe you are, and you finished writing some really important legal brief or whatever, I don't know what they write, but a brief or something, would you ask your spouse to read it and give you feedback on something that, that they're an English teacher and or a math teacher? Why? Why? It can be a burden. Ask, are you interested in reading this? I'd like your feedback on this piece, this section right here. Or what do you think of this paragraph? That's something reasonable to ask. But to ask somebody to read an 80 chapter draft of a book and they're working on the secret, to me, you need to think about why you want somebody to read your work and who you choose to read your work. So I'm a big advocate for writing workshops, led workshops. I lead workshops. So it's not just people getting together talking about work and saying how great it is. There's really good workshops that aren't led, but a lot of them are not. And but with a facilitated workshop, with somebody who's trained to show you how to respond to each other's work, not fixing it, but asking questions, responding to it in a way that assists the writer, I think is more valuable than showing it to your spouse. But a lot of writers just want to show it to somebody, including a group, to get acknowledgement that it's great. Oh, I really liked your book. Thank you for showing it to me. I don't know, is that valuable? So I'm just giving you something to think about here. Before you hand it to somebody, think about why you're handing it to that person. Ask first and choose your readers carefully. Choose people who can give you honest, helpful feedback. Not somebody who's just going to say, oh, yay, and not somebody who's going to rip it to pieces and they don't know what it was trying to be. Somebody who can give you honest feedback. And again, it may be only, can you read this chapter? I'd like your feedback on this chapter. Is this part clear over here? Or the whole piece? So I'm not going to go on here. I could, but you get what I'm saying. Be intentional about what you are asking for and choose your readers carefully. And don't just ask people to boost your ego. Okay, that's my thoughts for the day. I'm Pam Sorellis of Winged Horse Writing Studio, and I help writers lift their voices. Talk to you again soon. Take care.